I'm going to read you a scene in this book, The Door Bookstore, by German author Carsten Henn. And in this scene, there are three characters. One is Gustav, the bookseller. Two, Sabine, the bookseller's daughter. Three, the employee, and his name is Karl Kohoff. It was 9 o'clock in the evening when Karl's phone rang, a sound he never entirely appreciated. Being a quieter type, Karl jumped, both out of his skin and out of Africa, where he had been rereading Karen Blixen's autobiography. He had last read it 25 years ago and was in the habit of reopening each of his books every quarter century to see whether they had anything new to tell him. Karl tucked his current bookmark, an old till receipt from the bakery, between the pages and laid the book carefully to one side. He smoothed his clothes, pulled his collar straight, and picked up the receiver. Kohoff, good evening. Is it Karl Kohoff? Yes, speaking. This is the Monster Blick residential home. Gustav Gruber has asked to see you. But it's Saturday. He never wants visitors on a Saturday. He's not at all well. I think you best be quick. Karl walked so quickly through the nighttime streets, and he was completely out of breath by the time he arrived. On the way, he'd wonder whether to take Gustav something. But when a person is departing forever, they have to leave everything behind, even something they've only just received. Nonetheless, Karl bought a bunch of tulips in bright colors at the gas station. Gustav was fond of tulips. They reminded him of Amsterdam. The sight of them always cheered him. Of course, no one could take happiness with them either, but nor could anyone have too much happiness in life. Perhaps in a person's final moments, it was more important than ever. At the residential home, Karl didn't wait for the lift. He took the stairs, waiting for a come in, opened the door. To be faced with Sabine Gruber, Gustav laid in his bed, his breathing shallow and weak. You can't see him, said Sabine Gruber, putting her hand against his chest and pushing him out. She wanted at least these few final moments alone with her father. No one can see him, she continued. He needs peace and quiet. She closed the door behind her. How is Gustav? I really don't have the time right now to talk to you about it. Is there anything I can do? No, there's nothing you can do for him now. I mean, for you. Can I bring you something to eat or drink? You look as though you could do with a little something. Mr. Kohoff, I can manage perfectly well here without you. Without another word, she turned and left him. Karl didn't want to leave his old boss alone. To walk out now would feel like turning his back on a drowning man. He sat down, but immediately stood up again. Sitting felt like surrender. Instead, he began walking the corridors of the residential home, each as interchangeable and as inescapable as the tunnels of a labyrinth. The pervasive vinegary smell of cleaning product hung everywhere. As if from nowhere, a bookcase appeared in front of him. The home's library comprised a large number of well-thumbed volumes, so worn they would not have found a buyer even at a flea market. It was a veritable literary hospice. Karl scanned the spines, the authors, and titles. He wasn't sure at first what he was looking for, but the more he looked, the clearer it became in his mind. He found Emil and the Detectives by Eric Kastner. Gustav must certainly have read it in his younger days. Karl sat down with the book outside Gustav's room and began to read. The words wouldn't pass through the walls to Gustav, but Carl read aloud all the same. He knew the words possessed no magic to heal Gustav. He knew he was no Merlin, no Jetty, no Susie, just Karl Kohlhoff, whose voice cracked and who missed his best friend. He read the story of Emil Tischbein and of Mr. Brandeis, who stole 140 Deutschmarks from Emil on the train. He read about Gustav with his horn, about Pony with her bicycle, about the gang of young detectives and password Emil. Carl didn't once glance at his wristwatch. He read without stopping, as though the thread of Gustav's life would slip away if the flow of words ceased. Suddenly, a nurse ran past him into Gustav's room, followed by several more in fluttering white aprons, like a flock of birds pursued by a hawk. Carl read louder and faster, forcing the words out of the book, his fingers holding it so tightly they left indentations in the hard cover. Then the flock of white birds swept out of the room again, slowly now, with heads bowed. Once they had all left the room, Carl slowly closed the book, laid it gently on the floor next to Gustav's door, and left the building. In his eyes, it was uninhabited now. I found the scenes very poignant, and it means a lot for the person leaving us and the person behind. Thank you.